Alright, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, Connor on Chain. Let's cover a bunch of stuff that we've seen in the market. Honestly, it hasn't been too crazy over the last few days here, but I do want to cover a lot of different stuff regarding some majors, like we always do, a bunch of actual long-term altcoins. Then I want to jump into this coin, Mask, here. I got a lot to say about this thing. Crazy stuff going on with this one. So let us go to TradingView. We will pull up some stuff. I actually got to update all of my watch lists here. But anyways, so we got Bitcoin here. Over the last couple of days, we've seen Bitcoin coming back down into this general range. It's been very difficult to know what exactly is going to be happening, because I believe in one of my last videos, I don't think the last one, but the video before, one of the main things I was watching was this trend. It seems like this trend was broken. I mean, this is on a daily, so how many candles ago? 1, 2, 3, 4. About 5 days ago, this candle was broken. It's been consistently down, but just because it broke that, it doesn't mean that we're going to zero. It doesn't mean Bitcoin is going to hit 12K. In 2 weeks from now, because bottom line, we pushed higher, we've now retested back down. Technically I would consider this a general broad all-time high range. Some people, I know they draw their supports, they don't draw ranges like I do. They will draw literal pinpoint accurate, within like a $20 range of a candle, for a support level. They might draw it up here. They might try to get everything over here. So maybe they draw it in the middle. But to me, bottom line, what I'm getting at is I think that Bitcoin is just generally holding and bouncing within the range of previous all-time highs. And this is as in for this cycle. We're not talking about last cycles here, because obviously that's 60K. But nonetheless, chart is still looking bullish. It's going to be very dependent, though, here on what's going to happen. If it wants to bounce, if it wants to push higher, we could see this come back up and chop. My thing that I'm looking for, though, is if this is going to be a high time frame break and a retest into bearish momentum, then into an actual nuke. If that would happen, that's going to scare a lot of people. Altcoins are going to go way lower than they already are sitting. But the thing is, for here, is I think this momentum, if and when that does happen, it might take a few days, another week. If that does happen, that is when I'll be looking to, no, I'm not even kidding, legit open a short and ride a short down. But again, that's a big if. It's always very hard to know exactly what is going to happen in the market, but the best thing you can do is try and prepare yourself for both sides of the equation. Now we got ETH. Everything kind of looks like Bitcoin. Everything's been bouncing, trending up in a range, broke out of the little, range here. Now ETH looks like classic. It's struggling to kind of push higher, which it probably will for a while. But Sol too, even same thing. It's kind of bouncing on this range for a while. Clean break. Likely, I wouldn't be surprised if we see everything bounce up a little bit. But then once it starts to bounce down, if it does, that is where I'm going to be questioning what is happening in this market right now. But nonetheless, guys, everything I think is still holding. Things look very good. Lots of good altcoin positions are in full force right now. I do want to pull up a few things that I found interesting. So Sonic is a chain that I'm surprised at how down only this has been. This is something I was actually looking to open a trade on. But, price is actually at the lowest that it's almost ever been. Excuse me. Sonic is an interesting chain, though. This is one I've been watching for a while as well. This was the updated Phantom, basically. But this one, I don't know if this is going to be the time to take a trade or if this is actually going to go a lot lower, maybe to 30 cents to 35. If it wants to trend lower, that's what I'll be looking for. But bottom line, I love to see when prices end up showing some sort of clear bottom, or if they just keep going lower. The lower they go, to me, the better an entry, because this is a major strategy that I focus on when I'm looking to buy into altcoins. It's usually in times where it's very unknown. We don't know what's going to happen in the market, right? Good time to be looking into alts, and when their charts are completely bottomed out, and they're actual very strong fundamental projects. They're not some BS, crap out there. There's a ton of projects that are at ground floor levels that, yes, may even continue lower for a little bit of time, but many charts are looking very good. So in my next couple of videos, I got a few coins, one that have very similar charts like this, just kind of down only, but I have, we've talked about it in our group for a while. We've called some of them, and they look very good. I have very clear theses on a lot of these altcoins, so expect these videos coming in the next couple days. But lots of different narratives that I'm focused on too. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about too, is because if we go to CoinGecko, something that I like to do on this channel is I always like to focus on coins in the market that are in narratives that aren't actual narratives yet, or very undervalued narratives. Things where I think the market eventually could shift to. Yes, it's high risk because no one actually knows what the next meta is going to be. No one knows what people are going to start shifting their focus to. But I like to explore into those narratives almost more than anything. Because in crypto, in an attention-based market, being early requires you to be doing research on things that no one even knows exists yet. And if you can understand it, if you can get in early, allocate yourself early before people even start looking at it and even knowing what it is, even know that it exists, that's where most of the money is made in this market. And that's why I want to pull up DeSci, give you guys a DeSci coin that I want to be talking about more. I want to pull up SocialFi, because SocialFi I think is a very interesting narrative as well that a lot of people aren't talking about. And also ICM, which is the Internet Capital Markets, the thesis behind all of those. I'll bring up a couple coins as well. So what was I going to do? Oh, go to cryptocurrencies. We can go to, my bad, not new cryptos. But this is actually something you guys can always check, is if you're on CoinGecko, go to the new cryptocurrencies and just consistently look at what is being added, depending on what chain you want to use. But anyways, I keep going off track in certain ways, but there's so many random things I could just talk about. So if we go to categories here, so obviously we got the biggest ones. We got L1s, exchanges. We even got AI. That's crazy. Whoa. So we're gonna go scroll all the way down. Keep going. Let's speed it up. Command F, DeSci, or maybe decentralized science. Okay, so I guess it's not a category. Now, if you just type it in here, decentralized science, there it is. So the market cap of the overall DeSci space, 600 million. That is tiny, guys. So I want to talk about Bio. I'm going to go in depth with this coin, literally, like I said, tomorrow, the next day. Bio protocol, I think, is a very strong DeSci play. Completely bottomed out chart. Their tokenomics are, I'd say they're very fair for what they are. They're okay. One thing that I did notice that was pretty bullish as well for Bio is their team actually moved their unlocks, aka, their team unlocks 6 months out. And the reason why I'm actually very bullish on that, bottom line is the fact that we're in crypto right now, we know we're already somewhat near some sort of top for this cycle, whether it is now, whether it's in 3 months, 6 months, 7 months from now. They moved their unlocks 6 months out from now. In that span of time, in 6 months, you know for a fact most people are going to be selling and or getting out of the market at that time. I look at in the market right now because we are very late in the cycle. I look at a lot of tokens that have unlocks only a couple months out, anywhere from, like I said, between 6 to 12 months out from now. I look at that as very bullish because I fully expect within the next 3 months, 4, 5, 6 months, by the end of the year, I expect altcoins to at least start running pretty hard. So if a token has unlocks basically after 2025 at this point, and they start unlocking 2026 or even like October, November, December this year, that to me I still think is a pretty bullish thing to look for when a token has unlocks at the end of the year. You know, if we were in 2023 and something like that came up, like, oh, they pushed it back 6 months, to me that's bearish because we know, you know, if we look back at 2023, we kind of knew that at least for a year, 2 years from that point in 2023, we were going to have some sort of bull run, or at least alts would have some sort of run. So for them to push it back 6 months, 2 years ago, right? If, again, this is kind of a made up thing, but you know, if in 2023 they pushed it back 6 months, aka so then they started unlocking in 2024, that to me is something that's kind of bearish. You know, there's a lot of little things that I want to go over with Bio here. But bottom line, they have pretty good tokenomics, and they have, it's kind of a launch pad for decentralized science research. So I will go into this tomorrow. Lots of good things. But what's interesting about Bio and that I really like it is I actually covered a video talking kind of about Bio well before I knew a lot of the stuff I know now. Almost last year. You can actually scroll through my channel. I'll pull the video up here, somewhere up here. But I cover Bio because the reason why I like it though is because half of the market cap within DeSci itself as a narrative is basically projects that were incubated by Bio Protocol already, from Vita DAO, Hair DAO, Valley DAO, Genomes DAO. A lot of these coins, you know, Psi DAO, Athena DAO, I believe too. But a lot of these coins within the Bio ecosystem, you know, they've been doing, I wouldn't say they're actually doing very well market cap wise or pumping or anything, but you know, it kind of makes up most of the DeSci space. They got a killer team. And to me, this is one of the blue chip projects within the DeSci space, like hands down. If DeSci is going to run, I mean, it's kind of crazy because I'd say the top 3, which are listed here, are probably some of the blue chips in and of itself. Like Research Coin has always been a great one, but Bio is probably my number 1 DeSci play. And like I said too, chart is beautiful. So that's a little bit about it. But like I said, I will get more into that tomorrow. Now, why don't we go to SocialFi? Because we got another coin here. Is we got Zora, a very interesting project. This one I'm not going to talk about at all. I'm giving you guys just an example. This to me is SocialFi. Zora.co. I had a video. That's a crazy picture. That's actually fire. Made a video about what could be the next virtuals protocol in some way, shape, or form. I made this video 6 months ago or so, talking about a tokenomics flywheel, attention in certain ways. How could a project or a platform garner that similar or same kind of hype that virtuals did, but within a different narrative? And that's all I'm going to put with this. Is Zora may have that potential. I don't know yet. But nonetheless, again, everything with Zora, in my opinion, seems pretty solid. It is 30 million in market cap. Fully diluted is about 100 million. So yeah, I'm not gonna get into it more. But Zora is one I've been watching for a little while now. You know, obviously there's a lot of FUD, I think, when it launched too. But you know, the thing is too, guys, is 95% of projects that have some sort of VC backing, they will all do this. all of them will do this when sentiment is not great. Or even in a good sentiment, projects are still going to do that. Another random example, guys, is Barachain. Barachain nuked. It is at 250. I also made a tweet, probably literally when this launched. I was like, I'm not even going to look at Barachain until it's at $2. And it is still not even at $2 yet. This is why I tell everyone, I don't care how new you are to crypto, stay away from coins that are heavy with attention, VC backed. Do not be buying them at launch. 95% of the time, if you buy it and then wait a few months, they will go down a minimum of 30%, usually upwards of like 70, 80%. It always happens. Hyperliquid is the one coin that fully went against that, and I still think it's insane that it did that. The one major coin that didn't pull a minus 60%, minus 70, minus 80% dump after being out for a few months. So like I said, it happens to literally every coin except Hyperliquid. And Hyperliquid too, I mean, that's still think it's a powerhouse. Market cap is, it is fairly high up, but again, it doesn't even matter, because if we're getting to the point of a cycle where retail is going to start jumping in, and then we start to see valuations go bonkers for like everything, Hyperliquid is a huge L1. I think this just bridges a lot of different things together, a lot of DeFi stuff. I think it's literally a powerhouse of a project. I personally just wish this was smaller in market cap. And like, yes, we could have bought the dip, this and that. But I wish this was not launched and already trading at billions, which was a lot smaller, but obviously it is what it is. This will still do well. Power play, in my opinion. Hyperliquid and its ecosystem, which I know is very undervalued. What else is going to pull up? Those are kind of two I wanted to bring up right now. We got Ray. I'm just probably going to make the title of this video top few altcoins to just look at, or something like that. I don't know, because I didn't expect to just throw a bunch of gems in here today. But guys, Ray, powerhouse project. If there's one project I would have to bet on as like a undervalued dark horse for right now in this cycle, it would definitely be Ray, in my personal opinion. I think it's just they are on another level of development, and I think they're killing it. You guys can watch my other video where I go a little bit more in depth about Ray and what it is, a little bit about what they're building, how they're operating. Ray is a very good project as well. Like, these are just three main gems, and then the last thing I do want to talk about, guys. So outside of a lot of this stuff within these narratives, that was kind of AI, DeSci, SocialFi. Three coins that I'm kind of watching right now for gems. I kind of have them in my golden watch list. I specifically have this golden watch list, top coins, just coins that I'm watching, coins that I'm really like, or coins that I really like. Or no, there's two things, so I'm sorry. I want to bring up something too about Elky. Sun is ripping at me now. If we go to Elky, they had a crazy update. So two different updates. One, they partnered with Toyota a little while ago, which is very interesting. They joined Toyota's material handlings, I don't even know what that word is, Lodge Economy Connections Program, which I've actually never heard of that. But definitely really interesting. They're working with unbelievable major brands. And this was 2 days ago. Today, Elky hit 7-digit ARR, which is annual recurring revenue, before selling a single robot. How many digits of ARR do you think we can hit when we're mass distributing retail robots? I don't know. So shout out to Nils, that's their founder. But yeah, that's crazy. They got some partnerships lined up. They're going to be making some crazy revenue. And there are not many projects that are sitting at a market cap, something like this. There are not many like that in the market, in my opinion. I think Degen stuff, this is kind of a Degen robotics AI play. I've talked about Elky on my channel now for like at least 6 months. Like, this is one of my favorite projects. And the main reason, though, is the angle of robotics in which they are building towards. Because I know robotics, I don't know if it's going to be this year. I assume it might be maybe later in the year. But if robotics does take off, this will be a number one robotics project without a doubt in my mind. It's the way that they're operating too, I think, is just unbelievable. There's not many projects operating on a level that I've found like Elky here. So that's what I wanted to cover for, a lot of altcoin gems. I want to cover another Degen play that we had, though. Another one. This was a fucking ripper, guys. This was the literal sender for the day, for the last 2 days. My mind has been glued. I shit you not, glued to the 5-minute chart from when we entered, aside from sleeping on it, waking up, and just watching. And then also, this is where we entered. I saw this 2 days ago. Is Cat with Mask. Shout out to Cat with Mask. I saw this cat the other day, and we ended up taking this trade. This was like very late at night. We got in just around 2 million. And this thing just took off. It did not stop. I initially told everyone to start selling literally at 4 million, which, in many cases, guys, making a 100% gain, a 200% gain, it's something, it's solid. If you can get it here and there, it is what it is, right? Or at least taking initials, but then it keeps going up, and by 6 million, I'm like, okay, maybe we can continue to take profits and sell out of most of that. So now we're at 6 million, but this thing just keeps going up, and if we did that, we would have been up a lot more. And I've actually been pounding sand the last 2 days because this was one where I don't know why I went 10 times more heavy into it myself because I believed it, and yet I still sold for a 2 to 3x when I knew this was going to be a clear runner, and I don't know why, but random things like this happen. Coins where for some reason, you just know it is going to pump like crazy. It was the comparison to me where Whiff came out of nowhere when people thought, people didn't even know meme coins like cat, dog coins, animal coins were going to be a thing. Right now, we haven't seen a cult meme coin run for months. And then seeing this cat, a cat with a mask, like, come on, guys. I knew this was going to rip, and it did. So, nonetheless, I know many of you guys in our group as well, we're kind of jumping in here and there. Some people entered, entered a little late, but a lot of guys are still holding in there. So this is one, though, if, my main strategy for meme coins, I don't know what it is. I love this meme. I'm not telling you guys, though, do not be buying this because I'm talking about it on the channel. Do not just buy it because it's in front of your face right now. I'm not saying that it is in a buy zone. Yes, it could go higher here. But the thing with me is because it's pumped so much, I'm waiting for the hype to die to then look for the correction and the dump. And if this ends up pulling that, I will try to low-key accumulate a lot of this. And if this ends up running, this could be a massive run. Or could have a massive run as a newer cult coin. And the reason why, though, is because if you look at this within 2 days, or not even, within the first day or so, we had all these people change their PFPs into this cat. And I haven't seen that since Michi, which won Michi last year. I think it was like what? When did Michi drop? Middle of last year? No, a year and something ago. But bottom line, when Michi ended up blowing up, the reason why I took off was because half of crypto Twitter at the time started changing their PFPs to this cat, right? Same exact thing happened with Mask here. And like I said, I haven't seen that in a year plus. This was something I knew would run, and like I said, selling early was definitely a mistake when I knew it was going to keep going. But, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes things like that happen. But outside of that, that is what I wanted to cover today in this video. A bunch of different gems, Degen plays. But expect over the next day or two, or a couple of days, I'm going to be dropping a bunch of stuff within some DeSci projects like Bio, Zora. My bad for the sun. The sun is like right in my face now. Projects like Bio, Zora, a little bit more about Ray, getting into a lot of those gems, and a couple more that I haven't mentioned here. So outside of that, I appreciate it, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.